Let's be honest. What did you think would happen when you put a lifelong career criminal, con artist, carnival barker, abuser of women, children, and all earthly animals who paints himself orange in the White House?
Hey, bro. What?
He's gonna break the law.
Oh, my God!
What's up, YouTube? Drill Sergeant here, and I've been telling you for a few days now that I'm going to give you the full list of every illegal action that this ridiculous orange-faced president has done since January. And it can only go up to November 26th because since then he's done so much more that it's super hard to get a hold of. But at least what we know of since then is the Epstein files. Yeah. He's in them. We know he's in them. He's been proven to be in them. But he and his administration illegally didn't give them up. The Congress said, you need to give it to us within 30 days. That was November 19th or August 19th? No, November 19th, where they had to give it all up, unredacted, and they didn't give it all up, and it was redacted. Every minute of every day right now after November 19th, they're breaking the law. So we can just start there. Every minute of every day, 24 hours, 7 days a week, they are breaking the law as we speak. So that's one. But we're going to go back because, like I said, when you put a career, lifelong criminal who knows nothing but being an illegal con man, a con artist, which he's really good at. He's really good at it because it turns out that if you believe your own lies, you're really good at lying. And when you don't understand object permanence like a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old, no, a 2-year-old maybe, you know, peekaboo, they think you're gone. They don't understand object permanence. It's that you're still there when you go like this. That's him. He's a fucking child. He's less than that. He's a fucking baby. He looks, acts, smells like a baby. And he also crimes like a juvenile delinquent without any rules, regulations, or parenting. So we're going to go back. The list is long. I had to get a fresh battery for the camera. Get your pens and pencils ready. Get a good daggone drink. And we're starting with the classic, the biggest one, corruption, bribery, and self-enrichment. Get your pencils ready. Here we go. Number 1, launching the World Liberty Financial and Meme Coins. Yeah, that's his company, launched for the specific purpose to accept bribes and evade financial regulations. The same thing that Russia does with their meme coins and Bitcoin currencies. Why they love it so much. Those things aren't regulated and they're also really hard to track, so you can get money from anywhere, even if you have sanctions put on you. Number 1, he's launched the World Liberty Financial Meme Coins to accept bribes and evade financial regulations. 2, enriching himself by up to $5 billion while in office. And there's no way I'm going to be able to comment on all of these if we're going to get through it before the new year actually starts. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker. Here we go. Accepting foreign gifts, including a $400 million jet from Qatar. Gold items. Yeah, actual, literal gold items given to him, like a frickin' 16th century king or something, and luxury gifts. This is all in violation of the Emoluments Clause and every ethics law. He's also rewarding meme coin investors with access to lavish dinners. This is against the law. It's called bribery. He's pressuring the DOJ to pay him $230 million over his own prosecutions. Conflict of interest much? Speaking of lying and cheating, he accepted an anonymous $130 million donation to bypass Congress during a shutdown. He spiked the corruption investigation into allies and donors, obviously illegal, and probably the grossest one in this category, He intervened to protect Andrew Tate from investigation.
These Andrew and Tristan Tate, who've made offensive statements about women, are now facing a total of 21 criminal charges, according to prosecutors in Britain. As Villa Marks reports, the charges include rape, assault, and human trafficking.
It's the first time Britain's Crown prosecution has revealed details of the charges against the Tates after a police service north of London amassed a file of allegations that date back to 2012. The brothers currently reside in Romania, where they face separate criminal proceedings over allegations they formed a group designed to exploit women.
Yes, that Andrew Tate. Now, closely related to corruption, bribery, and self-enrichment, we have the category of the abuse of presidential power and the separation of powers violations. Let's get started. Ignoring or suspending laws passed by Congress, like the TikTok ban, the immigration statutes, all of them. And this one we're gonna have to talk about, the FCPA. What's the FCPA, Drill Sergeant? I'm glad you asked. You see, here in America, in 1977, there was a federal law enacted called the Foreign Corruption Practices Act, the FCPA. And this was to prohibit U.S. companies, their subsidiaries, and publicly traded entities from bribing foreign government officials to gain improper advantages. But Drill Sergeant, you'll say, we know that all the people standing behind him during his inauguration on January 20th were all bribing him and giving money to him, and he was accepting it. That's the emoluments clause. But what's the deal with the American companies giving foreign people things? Yeah, well, that 1977 law might have been enacted, but on February 10th, 2025, President Donald J. Trump issued an executive order 14209 titled Pausing Foreign Corruption Practices Act Enforcement to Further American Economic and National Security. Yes, YouTube. It directed the U.S. Attorney General to cease initiating new FCPA investigations or enforcement actions for an initial period of 180 days, unless an individual exception is approved by the Attorney General, i.e., Trump. Let's talk about the unilaterally freezing or redirecting congressionally appropriated funds. That's an impoundment violation, and Doge did it every day for 6 months. Yeah. Next one, shuttering or dismantling federal agencies without authorization. Doge did that, and it wasn't even a real federal office until recently. It was just made up to do crimes. Another one of those crimes, declaring false or legally dubious emergencies to bypass Congress. He's still doing that every day. Attempting to seize control of elections and voter registration rules. I just put out a video about our DOJ suing 22 states for not complying with their illegal actions to mess with their voter registrations. They're suing the states over them not doing the illegal thing that they wanted them to do. It's happening now. I'll put it right there. You can see it for yourself. Whew. And last one under this title, threatening states with the loss of funding to force compliance. How many times have you heard that since he's been president? Part number 3, the civil rights and constitutional violations. Here we go. Violating the First Amendment through retaliation against journalists and media outlets, law firms who have all capitulated, both of them, universities who have mostly all capitulated, protesters, well, because they can't capitulate, and federal employees. Again, journalists and media outlets, law firms, universities, protesters, and federal employees. He's also compelled political speech by federal workers. Illegal. He's also banning discussion of certain ideas in schools and in government. Well, all of that is Project 2025. They said they were going to do that, and they did. First day. Retaliating against whistleblowers and prosecutors, also in Project 2025. First day. Racial profiling and due process violations by ICE. That was illegal until the Supreme Court said it's no longer illegal to racial profile. Yes, they did. Did you know that? The Supreme Court has ruled it is no longer against the law for law enforcement to racially profile.
Oh my God!
But it was against the law when he did it. Whew. Violating equal protection and due process rights of trans people, immigrants, protesters, and federal employees. All of them, up until just yesterday, literally. Here's the next title: Immigration and Refugee Law Violations. You realize we're not even halfway through yet, right? Do you have your pen and paper? Do you got your drink ready? I need some water. Next section: Immigration and Refugee Law Violations. Ending birthright citizenship by executive order. Suspending asylum and refugee entry unlawfully. Mass deportations without due process. Detaining green card holders for protected speech. Deporting people to torture prisons. CCOT? Yes, that happened, and no, this isn't a joke. This is not satire. I'm reading you the actual things since January. It's not even been a full year yet. Violating court orders related to deportations, invoking the Alien Enemies Act beyond its statutory scope. And this has been ruled on by multiple judges that yes, it is beyond the statutory scope. Next section: the abuse of law enforcement and DOJ, as if the last part wasn't enough. Politically motivated firings from prosecutors and inspector generals. Retaliatory investigations of political enemies. James Comey, Letitia James, Jack Smith. Next: weaponizing the DOJ to pursue his critics. Dropping bribery and corruption cases in exchange for cooperation, undermining the DOJ Public Integrity Unit, and issuing retaliatory indictments without grand jury approval. 3 times.
Halligan took over after Trump forced out her predecessor, Eric Siebert, another Trump appointee, who had determined there was not enough evidence to bring charges against either Comey or James. Just 3 days later, Comey was indicted on charges he lied to Congress and obstructed a congressional proceeding. A few days after that, James indicted on charges related to alleged mortgage fraud. But the judge ruling Halligan's appointment was unlawful because she was replacing another interim U.S. attorney, saying any other decision would mean the government could send any private citizen off the street, attorney or not, into the grand jury room to secure an indictment so long as the Attorney General gives her approval after the fact. That cannot be the law.
Next section: the pardons and clemency abuse. Let's go here. Mass pardons of January 6th insurrectionists, corrupt politicians, violent police officers, campaign finance criminals, gone, political allies and donors. And also in this section, using pardons to reward loyalty or financial support. Yeah, all of the actual drug dealers that he's pardoned, but not the ones that he's blown up off the coast of Venezuela in little boats without any evidence. Too many to mention. Next section: military and national security violations. Well, let's go. Deploying military and National Guard domestically in violation of posse comitatus. Deploying active duty Marines without authorization. Remember LA? Oh, that was too long ago. Conducting unauthorized military strikes abroad. Remember those little boats? Yeah. Sharing classified information on unsecured platforms. Keg's breath. Hexeth. Multiple times. He's an it. Jesus, stupid. And lastly, violating federal records and espionage laws. Too many to mention. There's the next segment for you. Extrajudicial killings and alleged murder. Ordering lethal strikes without congressional authorization, without due process, and without judicial oversight. All of it is against the law. Allegedly, killing civilians and non-combatants in Venezuela, in the Caribbean, and in the Pacific. And I have to say allegedly because I gotta keep the channel up. The total death count so far, 80 plus people. At least it was on November 26. I think that number is now up to 90-something. Here's the next section. And we're almost done here, guys. No, we're not. I'm lying. We're just about halfway. Election interference and authoritarian actions. Threatening election monitoring and states. Attempting to criminalize flag burning. Even someone I think it was 2 people, but I know one for sure got arrested for it. Threatening a 3rd presidential term over and over again. And he even has the Trump 2028 hats on the desk when dignitaries come by. And designating domestic political groups as terrorists unlawfully, especially since all of the real terrorists are no longer designated as such. They're just his constituents and his ICE agents now. But Antifa, that doesn't exist, you get the picture. Next section. Contempt of court and rule of law violations. Ignoring federal court orders. Being held in contempt proceedings. Threatening judges and courts. Declaring intent to ignore lawful rulings, and then doing so, mind you, even if having to backtrack afterwards. Yeah. Next section. Data, privacy, and records violations. Illegally accessing and merging federal databases. Yeah, Doge did that. And now Palantir's doing it. And they're getting paid to by the federal government. Exposing personal data during reckless declassification. But somehow we've over-redacted on the Epstein files. Using unauthorized servers and communication systems. Remember? Lock her up? That's what that was about. And now they're doing it every day. And MAGA don't give a shit. They love it, actually. And violating federal privacy and records laws. Let's get into the tariffs and trade violations. Imposing tariffs without authority. Yeah, did you know that the president isn't allowed to make tariffs? To put them into action? Did you know that tariffs only can be done by the Congress? They have to okay it. They come up with it and okay it, and he can sign it or veto it. That's how the law works. The Congress has approved none of the tariffs. Not the 100%, 600%, 50%, not the ups or the downs. None of the tariffs have been approved by Congress, and yet businesses and law firms still have to abide by them? I don't understand. But yeah, it's illegal. Also, under tariffs and trade violations, he's violated the USMCA. That's the trade between the North American countries. It used to be called NAFTA, but he was a baby child, so he renamed it. But that's what it is. He's violated that. He's violated international trade treaties over and over again. He's violated the separation of powers multiple times and Administrative Procedures Act. Next, intimidation, threats, and incitement. Yeah, that's against the law. It's not a fucking reality show. The president can't do that. It's against the law. Now, he's calling for the death or punishment of political opponents. Yes, he has. Encourage retaliation against critics. Yes, he has. And chilling protected speech through threats and enforcement many times. That, my friend, thankfully, let me get my water. Thankfully, I went rapid fire at the end there, or else this would have taken another 20 minutes to go into all of each one of these things and how badly he's broken each one of these laws. It's time to impeach, convict, and then remove. I'm a part of the Removal Coalition, and this is a group of influential, influencers, news people, media people, and insiders. Jessica Denson, Cliff Cash, and I'm probably the smallest one out of all of them. So I really, really am proud that they thought that I was good enough to help spread their word. And if this list doesn't tell you why, if this list doesn't give you the main reason why we need to impeach this guy and not wait until November 2026, we need to get every Democrat on board in writing because they're fracturing over there on the MAGA side. And they're just waiting for us to grow a pair, because there's no way they're going to sign on to anything if there's any dissent on our side. But if every single one of us, if every single one of our representatives that had a D by their name or an I by their name signed on to it, you could peel off the Marjorie Taylor Greens, the Boberts, and the other few people over there to join you, because they're already hating him. They're already cracking. They're already getting the death threats. Now's the time. Don't be a pussy. Don't be weak. We need to get those articles of impeachment going, and we need to do it now. We don't need to wait for yet another crime to be done. The time to fight is now. Ground News has very quickly become one of my most prized resources, my go-to even, because I get to find out what stories are not covered by the blind spot feature, which I love. But not just the blind spot feature. Any of these stories that I bring up, I can see what either side is saying about it. I can also see who's paying for those headlines. It tells me who owns the publication, which also lets me know who they're writing it for. Many times, none of that is for us. But understanding the context helps us understand the story. Ground News is absolutely one of, if not the best way to know that you've gotten every side of a story and that there's not enough spin in the world that could have you misinterpret it. Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're going to pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads. It's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works.